Eva Jajon Bayana, Zobesan Yeri Wadan Shazonde, Devarisha Banji, then Jamban Givonde, Kalo Jiwa Lana Beba Lada Menanjet, Sanji Jimden de Bejawa Shajantuba, Saselo Shadu Jasu Shewa Demba Jimden, Dishin Shewa Jajon Bayana Wanzo Rivadan Shazon Demba Devarisha, Jidin Kemba Givon de Kalo Jo. Lana Beba Lada Menanjet, Sanji Jimden de Bejawa Shajantuba, Saselo Shadu Jasu Demba Jimden de Dishin Shewa Jajon. Yanda Banzo Sanje Riva Dasha the Reshavan Jidin Jamba Jivon Divya Kanojo Lana Meva Lada Menanje Demba Sanje Jimden Bejawa Shajan to Bama Chaza Shuda Jazo Sheo Kanze Kanya Zo Sajan de Makoman Debra Manin Jidin Dina Chojes Tezekeva Jama Chaza Namda Bunga Choto Susawa Yishi Jazo Sejan Chaban Jiden Sumna Lame Gumbo Choni Jana Cha Zeno Tension Demba Tremenda Wish Sendo Dawa Jana Cha Zeno Dure Jana Sima Nyame Kenjen Jana Cha Zeno Gumbo Tuji Chede Tamje Kembe Demba Bo Shanam Yenden Jasu Dishin Shana Cha Zeno Tabe Deja Jimu Giving Yazon Nedrijan Judo Tenam Shogyo Shinjur Jana Cha Zeno Trene Treva Maya Lavata Lara ne Shinga Tamba Yun Gedun Mayan Cha Zelo Dibachi Yamish Gava Pinzo Sabache Range Simne Yozo Tene Sanje Demba Yin Karma Ravi Mameta Juma Seba Chubrata Melam Loda Teta Dije Janam Dedrata Sonam Dieta Jessica Kobantam de Jinjin Dadu de Gada Nada Chivala Sibe Solendro and Javaresho.
To the teacher, the blessed one, the one God will, full destroy, completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, Sugata, no other world, supreme guide of beings to the ten, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, subdue from the shattered land, I prostrate in thy offerings and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one God will, full destroyer, completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, Sugata, no other word, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, subdue from the shattered land, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one God will, the full destroyer, completely perfected, fully awakened, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, Sugata, no other word, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subdue from the shattered land, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When was supreme among humans, you were born on this earth. You paced out 7 strides and said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise, then I prostrate. With the pure bodies formed supremely pure, with a motion like golden mountains, flame that blazes in the 3 worlds. We know the best. To you I prostrate. With the supreme signs, face like spotless moon, color like gold. To you I prostrate. You are immaculate, the 3 words are not. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior in great compassion, the teacher in all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean. To you, the one born to dustness, I prostrate. Purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtues which frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality. To the Dharma which pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realization, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you the sublime community intending virtue I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, Perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, mirage, or flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain rank of all seeing, subdue the flow of force, and be delivered from the ocean of suffering, of aging, sickness, and death.
Sanje Jono Soje Jono Chanju Pado Dande Japsi Dagin Jenso Jebe Sonam Je Rola Pinje Sanje Drubuji Sanje Jono Soje Jono Chanju Pado Dande Japsi Dagin Jenso Jebe Sonam Je Rola Pinje Sanje Drubuji Sanje Jono Soje Jono Chanju Pado Dande Japsi Dagin Jenso Jebe Sonam Je Rola Pinje Sanje Drubuji Sanje Jono Soje Jono Chanju Pado Dande Japsi I go for
refuge and find enlightenment to the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings.
Sanje Jumden de Son de Shinshaba de Sonam Dagi Dutum Giva Zawan the Machumes. Subera do Jema Sonam Jeteranum Jeshi, Epeja Sampanam Jeju. Senam Jemedo Jeba Juremba, Tonam Medimba Meba, Tebemeba, Nobraga. Sherb Sigi Medimba, Tonama Ziva Meba, Sinjatam Jeju, Temba, Chajus, Yep. Pabe Kazana Jevonia, and the Bertonja, the Jovana Jeteba, Shepadum, Pova Sanje. So number of Yan Bogujeta Shomish, Kutsumba, Bataga Maguba Sute, so that Ganya Maguba Sumebata, the Majova to Nana, Pumbatan, and the Brother. Come down the Medema Gaja Namanda, Divana Machine, the Javayon, no one and the Brother. Sivale, Juvachuan, give a Yishion to the Deva, Majumba, the Jew. Sanji Jim Dendi Yishan Neba, Yangana Devana Meneva, Yata Vanjata. Simja Tamja la Siba Sala Shuba de Dedan Sanja Jumde, Kujivayan de Yandavana. Tamishan, the Tomra Gava, Padu Gava, Tamara Gava, hands of the Temples of Monte. Yozova, Yozotaba, Yozo, Chawa, Yataba, never to Sheva, Mevanya, water, but did all to you. Kevana, Jusosura, Gajibachava, Jumde, the Yenava, Subachunduala, Levato. Yarajavan of Shanju, and Ravajava, Medimba, Major Devata, Tema Yuva. Tewashimegi the never sugar, Tambo sugar, Timber sugar, Timber sugar, Charge with the Jibas on the Jibeji, Unions of Joan Jibendas of you. Good one, Jibendas of you, Chembo Kangia to the Yazuna Dawata, Permission to mention that the Quantum Tell, Charles Law. I think we are in the page 260, still on the sixth ground, the manifest. Gajer Rebas play in the full sutras. If the seed exists, the sprout would be the same. What is the seed? It is not the sprout. It is not something other than others, nor it is the identical with it. Thus, it's neither eternal nor nihilistic. Such is their truth. So I think, yeah. So it's almost like when there is a seed, likewise the sprout. So when there is a seed, likewise the sprout means, when there's a rice seed, there would be
Likewise, there would be the rice sprout. When there's a barley seed, there would be likewise there would be the barley sprout. So when there is seed, likewise the sprout. So I think this question mark is I don't know. So so when there is a seed, there would be likewise the sprout. So the very seed is not the sprout. Seed is not the sprout. It is not something other than something others. Seed is not, a sprout is no other than this seed. Seed is not identical with sprout, and sprout is not other than the seed. So nor it is identical with it. Thus, they are eternal nor nihilistic, such as their truth. Tami chemi chunitos, tami chemi chunitos. So this is the truth of the seed, the relation of the seed and the sprout being no permanent, no, how's that? I think nihilistic. Which means this when the seed is the statement is just like when there is a barley seed, there would be a barley sprout. So because the barley sprout followed by the barley seed, rice sprout followed by the rice seed, tomato followed by tomato seeds, and seed is not the very seed that produced the sprout is not the same, and they are not different. They are not identical. So that is their truth. That is the truth of the cause and effect. So meaning of this line is follows: where the seed to exist, the sprout, which is caused by the seed, would come into being in the same manner as the seed. So the same manner as the seed is the likewise. Now, when the sprout comes into being, it cannot do so from something other than the seed. And so one might think that the seed and the sprout are identical in natures. The sutra states that although the sprout does not come into being from something different from the seed, it is not that the seed comes to transpose itself into the sprout. Why? Because the sprout neither intrinsically other from the seed, nor it is intrinsically different, identical with it in natures. When both of these possibilities are rejected, the true nature of the sprout is revealed to be a reality that is free from extreme eternalism and nihilism. The same sutra stated this point in the following. I think this is the so this you can apply to the any cause and effect, any present and the past. So yesterday and today, this life and previous life, and in future life and this life. So the way things produced, giving rise to the result, and what gives rise to it is not identical. And is not identical, and they are not different. So, right? So what gives rise to it, what has been given rise by the cause are no different, not identical. So no different, no identical. So which kind of, the constitute the nature of the cause and effect is it is impermanent. The cause has to be disintegrated in order to give rise to the sprout effect. And when the effect arisen, the cause has to be ceased to exist. So the cause has to the cause having been ceased to exist is the impermanent, and then the continuation of the cessation of the seed as a sprout is again, proves that it hasn't been discontinued, right? Cause ceased to exist, but it hasn't discontinued or it hasn't been dissipated because the sprout has manifested as a result of that seed being ceased to exist, right? So I think this also suggesting that, in order to continue, there is no need, the cause to continue, cause not necessarily continuously existing for the next moment. So the seed to continues to the sprout, seed is not necessarily transfer or transpose to the state of sprout, right? So the day to Sunday is to continue to Monday. Sunday is not necessary to be continually existing, to the Sunday. So Sunday is the continue of the Monday is the continue of the Sunday. So Monday is continued Sunday. Because of that, Sunday hasn't been dissipated or discontinued. Right? So I think when you understand that, then there is no need Atma to continue in the many lives, to rebirth. There is no need one single Atma to continue, because the continuation is not based on the permanent nature. It is based on the impermanent. It is the nature of the impermanent. So then this continuity, now this same sutra state, the point is in the following: the volitions are the conditioned by ignorance. The actions of the karma are conditioned by the ignorance. Such volitions do not exist in ultimate reality. So the actions, not ultimate reality means action is not, not the virtue and not a non-virtue by itself. So action is not going to, cause you to hell realm or the God realm by itself. So action is become the condition for your next life, because the action is conditioned by ignorance, right? So when there is the force, the ignorance that give rise to actions, then action will lead to their result. So as I mentioned earlier, in the Bodhisattva's field, Bodhisattvas who has committed any negative actions, negative karma, if that negative karma is not caused by any ignorance or any delusional mind. So negative karma by itself cannot lead him to propel him in the lower realm. Right? Like the so Bodhisattva who killed the captain in order to protect the 500 people, the action is negative, is act of killing, but that action is not done by conditioned by the ignorance. It is rather driven by the great compassion. So action that is negative, negative because it is act of killing, but instead of propelling himself and fall, in the negative result, that actions accumulates the 100 years accumulation of merit. Right. So the action is not doing anything by itself. So therefore, action do not exist in the ultimate reality. Both volition, right, and ignorance are empty. So the ignorance by itself is not doing anything, because by itself is not a virtue, not a non-virtue. So ignorance manifests in the actions. Then action, actions that is, causing harm to the others or benefiting to the others. Then because of the result and action, the actions and what caused that actions all together, and then we says, this is non-virtue, this is the virtue. So both volition and ignorance are empty. So the both are empty of inherent existence, for there lacks intrinsically real movement. So here in Tibetan discourse, your means kind of, your is movement. So movement, what is doing, the action is doing. So out of harmful thought, the harsh word, what is the movement of the harsh word? So movement of the harsh word to bring harms to yourself and others. So the first line presents the logical reasons the volitions originate in dependence upon ignorance. The second line presents the thesis, which is that the volitions do not exist in ultimate reality. The third line presents how the both cause and effect are empty. So, so there is negative actions or the positive actions, the virtuous actions, and non-virtuous actions. So this is like, when you added the light yellow color and the blue mixed together, and it comes as a result of the mixing these two colors, and the green comes. So the green is not produced by one single color. So the action become virtue and non-virtue is not just because of the action by itself, not only just because of the ignorance. So ignorance by itself, there's not a non-virtue. Action by itself is not a non-virtue. So action, that caused by the ignorance, and it has done something to harmful to yourself in the futures, and it harmful to the others. So that conclude that action is non-virtue, right? So I think you see in the Jainism's, there's disciplines. They they're too much focused on action itself. So they're too much focused on action itself. So they cover their mouth. There's a discipline to not to eat anything grows underneath the ground. So there's too much focus on action. Action is doing something, right? So the idea was true. So Jainism is the practice of the practice of physical form, and the Hindus are the practice Dharma practice with sound. So they just so this is the movement. Third line presents show the effect in energy. And the fourth line present the manner in which there are empty. Movement here refer to the volitions, activity of conditioning. So activity of conditioning to virtue, non-virtues. So, and also we discussed that the action sometimes it is action become the virtue and non-virtue, or virtuous actions, because sometimes you don't, there is no active any intention at the time. There is no physical and verbal actions, but your action can be done by condition, the action that is done by the others. So imperceptible actions. So like you put the bench outside, and then that helps people to sit on, or someone needed to sit on. That when the person is sitting on that bench, and while you are distracted or you are sleeping, right? So you have the actions. So imperceptible actions. There is nothing at the time your intentions involved there, your any physical and verbal actions involved, but it counts, that's your action. So when somebody sit on the bench that you have put it on, or you just clean your path or your stairs, and someone find it's comfortable to sit on, that is imperceptible actions. So it's not you are acting right now. And that also includes I think that also, how say, like, when like when his Holiness giving teachings, he was telling about the discipline, and because of his telling, you follow. So today I'm not going to do this, or 1 month I'm not going to do this. Just by pledging in your mind, it become the virtuous actions. Or you haven't done anything, but you committed that, oh, this is what His Holiness says, I'm not going to do it. Or this is what His Holiness suggested, I'm going to do it. Just by committing yourself and doing it, it's become the virtues. So this is the activities. It's the activities. Activities not really, not with your physical and the verbal. So so that's why the Ayahuasca, the Buddhist discipline is, the discipline is done by the mind. So activity conditioning is the lack of this indicates how the volitions, the empty of the volitions, this too is stated that is a proviso.
Oh, proviso.
Proviso.
It's like a quality or condition.
Mm. This too is the state with the proviso that lacks intrinsically real movement, indicating how what is being negated is qualified. Being negated is qualified. The qualifications has the same meaning as the phrase, do not exist ultimate reality. In the fundamental verses on the middle way to the meaning of these sutras, citations is presented as the following. So the actions. So normally we think, actions, my actions means something that is done with through my verbal or physical or mental, right? So that is called actions. Now this is saying there's your activities, your actions, that is, presently there is no involvement of your physical or the verbal, or even that mental activities, but there is something that you can count as your actions. So imperceptible actions. Because previously this says, action is not become the virtue or non-virtue, or action is not causing any result by the action itself. So the actions that are conditioned by the ignorance, and action that is, resulted in harmful to oneself and others, action that resulted in benefiting to the individual and others. So all together, and then we consider this action is virtuous action, non-virtuous actions. So, and then also the action is, there is the activity, the action of yourself, which is not really done through your physical and the verbal, but it's considered your actions. So you condition the activities that is benefiting to others. You have conditioned the activities that is harmful to the others.
Where does intention come in, Geshe, with regards to action? For example, you can intend something not to be beneficial, but the action is beneficial. Or you can intend the result is beneficial, but actually there's ignorance involved. And so the action is not beneficial. How does that impact on whether an action is virtuous or not?
So, for example, if I was walking on the street, so unknowingly, I dropped, $5. and someone picked up. So I have so much attachment. I planned this. I'm going to use this for buy something. So, but I dropped it. So I didn't know, and someone found it and benefited to him. But that doesn't count. This is my positive actions, because my intention having $5 to buy for myself. So I have no any what called permanence. Yeah, there's no any intention in my mind to benefit to the others. Right. So there is the actions that done through with the $5, but this is not your non-virtuous actions. This is not your virtuous actions. So if I have, I have left $5 outside, right? So I think whoever grabbed this $5 to use, I wish this person may have find something to for good lunch or dinners. So if someone picked up and then he buy, the day he buy and he start eating it, so then the benefit is coming back to me. So that is the actions. So of course it is the actions or your actions. If you're physically doing something, verbally you're saying something, and mentally you intend to do something. So then these are the activities that directly you are involved, and you have how say you intend to do that.
So if you drop $5, you have no intent. You just were. It fell out of your wallet. You didn't realize it. And 3 hours. Let's let's make it a little better. Let's say $100. And three hours later, you realize you're missing $100. You don't know if you dropped it or someone took it, or you just have no idea. But after the fact, because you didn't know it was missing, you say, "Oh, I hope this benefited the person." The intention does not precede the action; it comes subsequently. Does that affect
So that
whether
that is a count of generosity. So that's you give up. So you have no no longer clinging to that. So you deliberately dedicate it to the others, where the person he use it, the benefit to him, and then merit comes back to you. So that's why something happened, then you just better to dedicate to the others. So I think that is really kind of a very clever way, because there's $100 not coming back for sure. So, and then if you keep thinking about it, it costs more, more harmful to you. Your mind is not happy about it, and then So if you say, "Oh, whoever uses it, I hope that person finds this very useful to him," so that you are happy, and as a then the merit, the interest is coming back to you. So, yeah, that's the clever, right? The clever. Some people that reminding himself or herself, even 1 year after 2 years, keep saying that, "Oh, I have lost that thing." So, so it's continuously disappointing yourself. So now the question is, there is the action of your actions, which is the virtuous actions, but you haven't done through your physical and verbal, but that is your actions. So when you look at the action, action belongs to the person who is using it. And how can there be your actions? So that my action can be, if I call someone like a general who, give the order to the soldier to fight and kill the peoples by phone, and he was sitting in the office. So he has committed the 100 people killing in the battlefield. But there's a robot that involved, right? The action is committed by the soldiers, the army. So he contribute, he conditioned that actions. Their action is his action. So sometimes, there's a benefit. You say, if you gather with 500 people who are doing 21 taras, so just by yourself doing 21 taras, 21 times at your house, and you join in the people, the 500 people done the 21 times of the 21 tara. So how many 500 people done 21 tara as a 21 time? So they become so many. And you also, that counts that you have done this, 5,000 or, more than 5,000 21 tara. So, it's the same. You have the benefit of the doing 21 tara 5,000 times. So it's the people's is the power of group or community. So like whole city together, give the donations to build the road. So if an individual cannot make the road, whole peoples, and then so each person has the benefit of making that road. So now this is saying that the activity, just by activity itself, is not a virtue, or not a non-virtue, or not the great, or not the negative things by itself. It is many things together, the result and intentions, and all together.
This is an uncomfortable question to ask. If one is aware of this kind of multiplying effect of doing something as a large community, right? Large community, then you could say a skillful way is to look and attend only retreats that have a huge number of people, because there's much more benefit than whether it's a solitary retreat or a retreat with a few people. So can't this result in a kind of, I don't know if this is beneficial grasping or not. You can always look at the numbers, look at the mob, look at who has most students, all this. I don't know about this way of thinking. Do you know what I'm getting at here? Oh, yeah. I want to be part of the Sangha with 1,000 students.
So we are not, I think there's you're true. Because right now when we say, so if I join with the big community of the peoples, who are doing the recitation of Om Mani Padme Hum. So you get the benefit. Now the retreat and the meditations, so the goal, the aim is to tame the mind, to bring the peace. So the peace is not necessary from the large number of people or small group of people or the individual. Sometimes the peace is better in the individual. Sometimes small group has more peaceful. Sometimes the large peoples. So that you have to see if this group of people, the mentally unstable, if you join with them, and there is number is not going to help you to bring the peace. Right. So right now I'm talking about, just building the road, building the house, the fence. so something that one individual cannot be, complete, and that need many people to join together. That that kind of merits. It's from the community can beneficial to the individual. So we make the freeways that benefit each person, individuals who are driving the freeway. Right. So that's something the physical beneficial, and something that is the accumulation of the merits. So the liberations, the peace is not relying upon the number of the people.
Well, even benefit does not rely on a number of people. You can have an organization with 1,000 people, and everyone seems to have so much positive motivation, and the organization accomplishes very little. Whether they're not skillful, there's internal politics, whatever it is. And then you can have a very tiny group, and they accomplish a huge amount, way more than the big group. So, just intuitively, this doesn't totally make sense. That I think there's kind of a danger in looking at numbers here, as thinking because it's a large group, there's more benefit. I don't think. I think many times that's not the case.
I don't know what you're saying. So when I said, so there is the beneficial that you can gain through the large number of people. Yeah, it is true, but it's not all the time is true. So in the like I mentioned, the peace, the meditations, the liberations. So these are not relying on the kind of number of the people. So the merit of the merit of the accumulation, the merit of the doing the 21 Thara for 5,000 times in a day cannot be done by individual. So that can be done by the group of people. So that's very simple. So I'm not saying that all the group action is always the beneficial, and in single or the small group is not beneficial.
Didn't you say it was dependent on the group?
Huh?
The group? That each group is different, so it depends on the group.
Yeah. Each group is different, yeah. Some are, male group, female group. Oh, so there's many groups here. So I'm just talking about the numbers. So can you have, the one day, the merit from reciting 21 Thara 5,000 times in a day? So then it says, oh, if I join the large number of people, So there is a possible for me to have the benefit of, accumulation merit from 5,000 times Tara for a day. So if I don't join a group, there is no possible for the individual, by individual, the benefit of reciting 21 Tara. So the kind of, the example that I have, and I'm come here because the example is the general, the one individual who is living in his office comfortably. So he can commit the killing 500 people or 1,000 people in the battlefield, committing, killing so many people just by sitting in the office. So why? Because he conditioned the soldier, the sent it to them and ordering them to kill them. So he has committed the act of killing many people just simply by sitting very comfortable in the office. So there is the actions. There is the actions that is not necessarily your individually done, but you have done it by conditioning to complete that, actions, the harmful actions. So I think that's very, it's not that complicated, So if the general can sit in the office within the day, within the 2 hour or 1 hour, he can, commit the killing of so many people. Why not? Just by joining in a group of people, you can accumulate the merits by doing 21 taras 5,000 times. So that you cannot just, expand, or what you call it, as to say, oh, the group is not necessarily all the time is good or benefit. Yes, of course, group is not necessarily always there's a beneficial, or harmful. So if the group is doing something for the liberations, doing something for enlightenment, the group is not going to help you. So your enlightenment is not relying on the group people. Your peace is not relying. Sometimes the group is more, more conditioning for disturbing and more problems. So that's why many people stay in the retreat by individual, isolated.
I'm sorry, I'm such a troublemaker. Of course, a lot of times at large retreats, there's an aspiration prayer. May we be enlightened in one mandala, meaning the whole group achieves liberation together. So this again seems a little contradictory with what you just said, that enlightenment isn't necessarily just a solitary thing. Of course, if I'm not mistaken, at least in the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying, there was almost the opposite effect. There was a quote from the Buddha that when the Buddha became enlightened, everything became quiet around him. The pastures, the cows, the whole area became quiet. And so there seems to be it's like everything is linked. The enlightenment of one person is not just even one person. It creates some kind of collective effect. These things are very hard for me to understand. I'm just being a parrot here, a kind of a parrot. because I don't have any authority or know anything.
I think it's very simple. Even the families, if the one person is, quite happy most of the time, that whole family is relatively much happier. If the one person is, because there is an influence, the energy that is, vibrations. So because the people live in that house is not a stupid, not a tree. So they understand the piece of that. They appreciate, so the positive energy. So when they appreciate your positive energy, they also condition it to that. So it is possible, it is possible. But so the enlightenment, so the Sugata means the day Buddha get enlightened. So that's really energies, tremendous the energies, really radiates, spread, all over the directions. So whoever has the connection with the Buddha, and whoever heard or know, or whoever has a sense of respect, so they're all kind of for that time moment, there's they kind of they connect to that piece. That so there's sometimes possible, the mothers to stay in the very far away, and her son, the son's got troubles, or he is successful in doing something, he's very happy. That mother can feel that kind of sense of, there is connections. So the Buddhas, the compassion is, without any discriminations, without any bias, the compassions that is touches the every sentient beings, and within the sentient beings, and some people's maybe very negative projection on you. So that negative projection, it become the obstacles for them to receive that that experience. Other than that, neutral, the animals, they all get benefit at the time. So your so much negative projections can be obstacles to prevent that, positive energies to, come to you. Now, it says, and if the Buddha can send that much positive energy, that so many of them can really feel that positive things. And why not whole life the Buddha is enlightened, the Buddha is not benefiting to many peoples. And that's, so in the Vasubandhu's text. So there's some kind of, I don't know, someone who is newly, they attained the noble wisdoms. So if someone who's newly attained noble wisdoms, so there's this, if you brings, one small, how's that, fruit or the bean, one single bean, and offer it to him. So you have accumulated, thousands, countless merits at the time. So if he's the attained noble being for a month, maybe there is less benefit. This is I don't understand. This is what this says. If someone who's newly attained, there's so much, the power to influence. So when you become the week and month and year, and then there is the maybe the less. And someone who's newly attained arhat or enlightened, there's a great power that the energies that is sent it throughout the directions. So if you got enlightened for a month ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, why I don't know, there's less power. There is no reason, any logic to prove it, but Bodhisattva says that. Maybe, sometimes, for example, if it's someone who is hungry, so he's been hungry for a few days, so he get little bit to eat. So one day, he was able to join the festival. There's many kind of foods. That's all free, and he was so happy to enjoy that food. There's a tremendous kind of the positive energies, the excitements, and after that on, he continues having many good foods, and there's not much excitement. Excitement is gone. So, but so maybe there is some kind of that kind of reasoning here. So the who is suffering in the cyclic existence, the pain going through, and the day he was just free from all this pain and sufferings. So that is completely new to him. There's a tremendous thing, kind of energies that burst out, and then excitements there. So then, so the month pass, year and 2 years, and that become normal to him. So maybe that less excitement, less kind of the energy kind of what's that? Burst, maybe. Do you remember the first time you have iPhone? So then after that, every day, every 2-3 years, you change, and it's become normal. The first time you got, the iPhone 7, so excitement. So you don't want to let each other separate from it. When you sleep, you just want to put it under the pillow. So yeah, I remember in the school. So new shoes, I got new shoes for a day before the Lhasa, the first day of the Lhasa. So I put my shoes in my my comforter. So I just sleep with shoes. So so next day, the first day you wear excitement, and the second day is excitement gone. And third day, fourth day is just shoes, nothing new. So maybe there's some kind of reason the Buddha, he, newly attained the enlightenment. There's a tremendous energies, the wave. So you see the 49 days, right? The first week, Buddha just, staring at that Bodhi tree. So he was so excited, so, that's totally new to him. He's just staring at 1 week to the tree. So then in second week, and third week, fourth weeks, they keep, how's that? Moving to one place to another place with all excitements. And then the Varanasi and then become normal to him. As enlightenment is not a new. So there is no Happy New Year. So every day is happy. that there's no Happy New Year. So you don't celebrate Happy New Year the whole year, right? It's the first day is Happy New Year. So that's, yeah, sometimes the compassion, Bodhisattva was compassion, great compassion. Great compassion always there. So when the compassion, the condition triggers by the condition that is not all the time. So when Bodhisattva sees the individuals, the pain and suffering and the cause of the conditions. So this very condition, the suffering that happening in front of him, that triggers the great compassions, become very, very powerful. They almost occupy whole consciousness. So when this person is free from that pain, and his compassion is also calm down, and then again when you see something else, that again condition to to expand that compassions, and then again it's become so powerful that hijack whole the consciousness and the sensory perceptions, the mental perceptions, whole the hijacked by that great compassion. When he helped that person and the person individual is free from that suffering, again compassion goes back to normal. So there's the energies that comes and down, right? So that does not mean Buddha's enlightenment sometimes falls back and increasing. So So Buddha's teaching is also like that. When the group of people comes to receive the teaching, and every time when the Buddha start giving teaching, it's not out of his intention. He always teach something, whatever is suitable at the time. And he teaches what they can understand, what is their mental dispositions. So according to the conditions, the teaching happens. Right? So the individuals are more knowledgeable, more intelligent people, group of people. And Buddha, again, his wisdoms become more settled, more profound. So I think this is why, the lower vehicles, the great vehicles. So now here today is the actions, the volition or the actions are not ultimate reality. Means so action is not become the virtue, non-virtue, just from the action itself. So the actions, the virtue, non-virtues, has to be, the condition by the result and the intentions. We call there's two kinds of intentions: the causal intentions, the resultant intentions. The causal intentions, what motivates you to act, the causal intentions. The resultant intentions, the while action is committing at the time, what is your intentions? So the two kind of intention there. So the motivation and intention may be two. The motivations, first, what motivates you to do or say something. And then intentions with the actions. What is your, how you feel about that, So that's why Buddha has no karma. Buddha is no karma, Because there is no motivation, and there is no intention. Because intention and motivations, who's looking for the benefit, who's looking for, to harm or to benefit. So Buddha don't see, or Buddha don't seek any benefit or harmful, because he is acting as is reality as it is. So the Buddha has no karma. So the Buddha's mind, the omniscient, is free from the habit and the constituents of the element. The constituents elements means right now our elements, the air, the heat, the moisture is conditioned by our emotions. So Buddha's the elements in the body is not conditioned by emotional or any desire, any intention. So their elements is free from the constituents, is not a constituents. Our elements in the body are constituents of the element, because the elements are, pre-designed by our habit, conditioned by our habit. So Buddha's elements are not conditioned by his habit. So free from habit, therefore no constituents. Kamnam the midemas, Geshanam dambas. Kamnam the midemas. There's no constituents of the element, and every sense of perceptions, the control, and subdued, tempt by the wisdoms, the compassion.
So what I hear you saying, Geshe, okay, first volition is empty. But on the other hand, even though it's empty, it is conditional and it is conditioned. And because conditioned, it's both cause and effect. On a relative level, it causes future karma, positive, negative, or neutral. But the Buddha is free from intention, free from volition. It's almost like he has no, it almost seems like he has no identification in terms of relative reality on a relative level. He's only abiding in emptiness all the time. That's what it sounds like to me. And because he's always abiding in emptiness without being caught in any appearance that's projected by the emptiness, there's no karma, there's no volition, there's no decision, there's no will. Whereas we have the appearance, it's still an appearance of volition and will and intention. And this creates the karma.
Yeah.
Am I getting it or not?
Yeah, yes, you're getting it. Exactly. So intentions and motivations is which means you are aiming particular the benefit, the specific, the result. So you're going after. That's why you are intended or you are motivated. So Buddha, the Buddhas don't see any specific targeting on specific benefit or specific, benefit or any specific the desire. He has no particular, So that's why there's no motivation, there's no intention. So intentions for the sentient beings. Sentient being has intention, motivations, because So maybe it's like, this is like in the ordinary peoples, we always finds the lacks of something all the time, right? All human beings, we find something lacking, something I have not enough, right? Physically or in any conditions that we lacks. So that's really the kind of the the how to say the impacts on the mind to selectively go after something. So I'm specifically this one. If I go to this restaurant, my intention is get this food. So if I go there, my intention is I want to meet that person. My intention is to get that done. My intention to say that. So we have selective, aim, because we find that every time that, constantly it's in happening in your life, something is missing, something is lacking. So the Buddha is 24 hours, 24/7 is happy, satisfied, complete, totally. So he has no specific, benefit to go after.
It sounds like he's not a sentient being.
Yeah.
It sounds like we're praying to a non-sentient being to free sentient beings of their sentience.
Yeah, so exactly, last time we the Chandrakirti's commentary and Nagarjuna's text, the sentient beings. So what is the what's the English word for that? We say dashet, the connotations of the sentient beings. Connotation, right? What is the connotations of being? Right? The sentient being means and semjen, Tibetan semjen. Sem means mind, right? So mind possessor means they are minding in their own particular business, because they're all, from the lives of life, we face problems. So we always find something to individually, that's needed. So we are minding on the business that is individually beneficial to, so that is benefiting to individual. So that is why the sentient being. So Buddha is not a sentient being. So Buddha is not a sentient being. Buddha is not the potential beings. So potential beings means we conditioning ourselves in separate, different from others. So we have our own emotions, individual desires. So we conditioning ourselves. So I am different from you, you are different from me. You can do something, I can do something. If you cannot do, I can ask you to do it. So there's something you do, I cannot do. Because we keep designing ourselves in the separately. So that's a potential beings. That's a potential beings. So the Buddha has no any specific, potentials. So I'm good in this, I'm not good in this. Right? So they're not a potential being. Yes, you're sure. Yeah, you're right. The Buddha is not a sentient being. So Buddha do not mind in their specific business. Buddha has no specific business, no coffee shop, no supermarket. So everybody, the ordinary people's the mind on their own business, but still we have to tell each other, mind your business. Yes, everybody is minding on their own business. So that the Buddha, free from the conditions of the elements, free from the habituations, free from free from the discipline, moral ethic discipline that had to be, restrained to do, not to do something. Buddha has no there is no moral disciplining of the restraining. So Buddha no need any control, any vow to bind them, to restrain them. Right? So because it's well controlled, the every sensory perceptions is driven and used by the omniscient and the great compassions. So if everything that you see, smell, hears is everything, processing through the omniscient and the compassion, then there you don't need any vows to discipline yourself. So for the ordinary people, yes, we need, there's the monastic disciplines, the Bodhisattva's discipline, and then, Tantriya's disciplines. So we need to, to set our mind to particular directions. We need the directions. So the Buddha is like GPS, no need to, So we need the GPS. Satellite is no need GPS. So I think this is the, I think we are discussing on the relations is not ultimate realities. The action is not ultimate reality. So it's your action being your is also not ultimate realities. The action that is seeing, that is done by other person, but still there is something to call it's your actions. So you leave the, say the bird feeds, so you put the bird seeds outside and you're sitting here and you're just watching television, so you're kind of, distracted. But when the bird comes and keep eating, and that there is your action. There is your actions. If there's no birds coming and not eating, there's no benefit. There's no virtuous actions. When the bird comes and start eating it, and that's your actions. So if the action is ultimate reality and action is your actions, your action means there's a physically action, the verbal actions. And ultimate reality, then there must be, when the bird is eating, your action must be existing. You cannot say, if your action is there, you cannot say the bird activity of eating is your actions. It's not your actions. But when they eat, there your action is there. Yeah. So even your, keeping your house clean is, if someone comes and they feel comfortable, and then there is your action. So if you spray some good smell, if someone comes, oh, that's good. So it's very fresh. Your air is very, neat and very refreshing. So then it says, oh, that's your action. That is your virtuous action.
So in my house, May has all the good karma, I have all the bad karma.
But you are clever, but you rejoice in her actions, so you get the benefit. so that is intelligent people, right? Let the people do it, and you rejoice sitting there, and you share the benefit.
But I'm disturbing her mind.
I think that's too normal to her. It's conventional to her. This is like someone have a habit of sleeping on the side of the road. So every car goes by, they don't disturb them. They feel more comfortable. One sleeping well. So so whatever you say is that's she's got used to it. No. So the point here is the actions is not ultimate realities. The action, even there is your physical action, verbal actions, is not enough by action itself to decide virtue and non-virtues. If your action is killing, it's not necessary to be, non-virtue is committing demeritorious. So the actions, the virtues, virtue, non-virtue is determine, the motivations, the intention, the result all together. Then you can come to understand this action is virtuous, this action is non-virtuous. Otherwise, it's just the killing and just killing. If just by the killing with non-virtuous actions, like tigers eats animals, other animals, that become non-virtuous actions. Any act of killing is not necessarily to be non-virtuous actions. The gun has no non-virtuous actions, right? So the action, the virtue, non-virtue action is not determined by one single actions, not just by one single intention or the motivation, not just by result. So all together and become non-virtue and virtuous actions. So I think, so that again, that reminds the praises to Bodhisattva Muni. Do not commit non-virtuous action, perform, virtuous actions. And then at the end, this is subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. When you subdue your mind, tend your mind thoroughly, and your actions become, virtuous.
Can non-action be virtuous? And I'll give an example to make it even juicier. When Nalanda was burned to the ground by the invading Islamic people, and no one fought, the library were destroyed, the monks were slaughtered. There's at least no record of self-defense or fighting back. This is like a really extreme case, a really good case to take. So seemingly there was non-action, which conventionally would be called very wise. I mean, even Dalai Lama told his troops to resist when China invaded Tibet, in contrast to what happened at Nalanda. So, I mean, at least superficially, I would almost tend to say that Nalanda's case of non-action was virtuous. They didn't resist or fight back. And the Dalai Lama's order to resist China, well, I don't know. That might even be kind of a borderline action. Although from a conventional viewpoint, it seems to me people should be allowed the right to defend themselves when they're attacked. So I'm trying to understand how to evaluate this and what the meaning of non-action is, what the meaning of like self-defense is, or ordering soldiers to defend their country.
So Dalai Lama, if Dalai Lama says resist to communist China, and Dalai Lama also says do not retaliate. So without retaliating, the resist means, mind, protect your own cultures, and cultures, sustain your cultures and the Buddha's teaching. That is the resistance, what he meant. So keep your own cultures, practice continuously. Whatever there is the, pressures from the communist China. And also resist is not in the sense that fight back, destroy. If they destroy you, you go back and destroy theirs. So the Chinese communists destroying the many temples, killing many monks. We resist, keep continuously, even more, more better way to flourish the Buddha Dharma. So by practicing continuously, establishing the monastery in India. So that's our resist. So
in 7 days, yeah. in 7 days of Tibet, the book that was written, I met the son of one of the Germans, incidentally. But
I think we should go to coffee shop.
No, but he did tell people to fight against the invaders, and the guy who was leading the troops just gave up. He didn't really resist, and he said, "There's no chance. No, there's no chance to protect ourselves. We have like 17th century weapons." And I remember in the 7 days to Tibet, one of the German guys got very, very angry at him for not protecting his country. But I'm trying to, I know this seems like it may seem like a massive tangent, but it's really not. I don't think so, because there's a question of non-action. That's one question. The non-action of the monks at Nalanda, maybe they're reincarnated as very powerful people. I don't know, spiritual people. And the other case is people protecting their society, their culture, their teachings. Even resistance can be hopeless, like it was in Tibet. It's basically hopeless. So did the guy do wrong to just throw up his arms and say, this is kind of pointless, we have nothing to resist with? Was Dalai Lama's action mistaken, saying, fight back, even though this is a hopeless situation, even though people would be, the Tibetans fighting would be destroyed. I'm trying to understand this in the scheme that you are set today of the emptiness of actions, the emptiness of intentions, and the impact on whether something is virtuous, unvirtuous, or neither. I'm trying to apply what you presented today to these very troubling contexts.
Yeah. Anyway, I probably understand Dalai Lama better than the movie directors. So I don't really follow whatever it is, So everybody speaks with their own presumptions. I never heard any direct order from Dalai Lama to fight back. So yeah, I think here's which means is the relativitist, the virtue, non-virtues, and relativities, relatively virtue, relatively non-virtues. There is no independent, there is no intrinsic virtue in non-virtues. So the virtues actions, even if not require, your own physical action, verbal actions, but still there is your virtuous action can be done, non-virtuous action can be done. Without your verbal and physical actions, there is actions. There's not just mental actions. There's the physical actions, not your mouth, not your body, but your physical actions. So taking vows, receiving vows, once you commit the vows, and there is physical actions in you, not not with you can see with your eyeball, but there is a physical, some kind of, with the commitment, with the pledge, with the promise, there's a, the kind of the resistance in this, it resides in your physical body. So, Prasangika school, the Pravashika school both agree it's a form. It is a form. It's not like your hand is moving. It's not like leg is moving. Your head is moving. There's no tongue. But as a form within your physical body, there is the vows that exist. So this is also is a form, and it's the actions. These actions continuously, continuously produce the merit. Even you are distracted, you are sleeping, you are fainted, this vows continuously brings the merit to you. Right. So, which means the action is not really, the virtuous action is not intrinsically exists, not inherently exists. Right. So some of the actions not physically in your body, your action is, done through others' physical actions. Right. Like the generals, the committing the killing of many people, by conditioning many people to go to the battle. Right. So, and Vaibhashika school says, the vows that exist in your body as the resistance, kind of mechanism of the resisting, to say bad, not to lie, not to kill. Yeah. So the Vaibhashika school says they are like, the till is like till, when you have sesame, the seeds, throw on the butter, and they stay separately, all together. So there's the sesame seed that's physically landed on that butters. So all the monastic vows, once you took the vows, it stays in your body. This is what the Vaibhashika school says. So the Prasangic school says there is no any physically, there's inherent something. There's something mentally impact on you because of the commitment. So bodily there is some kind of resistance or not doing any non-virtuous actions. That is, is a physical, is not inherent. Yeah. So that's Prasangic school says. So which means altogether that the actions is, the virtuous action is not, virtuous action are not a virtuous action by the action by itself, and not the kind of, not the virtuous actions just by the intention or the motivations or the resultants. Right. So the result of the killing is to take a life of others. So sometimes taking life itself is not necessarily, it necessarily is non-virtue by itself. So there's many things, like it. Sometimes your eating can be conditioned to take life of yourself. You're feeding dogs and feeding others with compassion can be conditioned taking life of others, or doctors that is, to help the patients. Sometimes this can be conditioned to take life of others. So just taking life itself is not necessary to be determining actions, virtue, and non-virtue. So relatively means many things has to be involved, and relatively, and then that determining the action is becoming the virtue and non-virtues. So, what really conditioning the virtue and non-virtues, those factors, when we see within the Buddhist activities, noble beings activities, arhats activities. So like intention, the motivations, the desire, and emotionals, those are lacking in the Buddhist activity. So therefore, then there is no such action that we can determine this Buddhist action is virtue and non-virtuous. So this is called samedile. Samedile is uncontaminated actions. So the sentient beings' actions are contaminated actions. So uncontaminated action and the contaminated actions. The karma has to be contaminated actions. So meaning of the sutras as citations presented as the following: that which originate in dependence on something is not on the one hand identical with others, but there is it, but neither is a different from it. It is therefore neither eternal nor annihilated. So in the Buddha's teaching, the sutras, so dependent on the something which originate in dependence on something, is not on the one hand identical or others. So it's the same thing, cause and the conditions are not different, not identical, but the cause and the conditions are continuity, is the continuum one continuum. And so, because this is not identical, means the cause is not, not manifesting once again with the result, nor the cause is transferred to the state of the result. The state of the result is not coming from the past, but the state of the cause is exhaust, the result manifests. That's how it is the continuum of that cause. So the cause cease is not going to be discontinued, not going to be annihilated, because the result has manifest as the continuum of that cause which is being ceased to exist. I think this has to be, repeating many times, because otherwise there's the misinterpretation of the continuities. So continuities, so we think there is one single entity repeatedly happening. So that is the misinterpretation, misunderstanding of the continuity. So that is the one single entity repeatedly happening or coming into being existing is the nature of the permanent, eternal, natures. It is not the nature of the impermanent things. So this is the, I don't know, for me it's very, very kind of, very important things to keep in mind. So what is the continuities? So the many, many like non-Buddhist schools, even the Jainisms, the religions, they really kind of, they see that there's a kind of, intrinsic qualities, intrinsic phenomena that is repeatedly happening. So without anything that is happening repeatedly, and probably there are things, or there's the discontinuations, there's the dissipations. So that dissipations, discontinuations, destroying their kind of, their genuine desire for the seeking liberations. So this is, if there is nothing repeatedly happening, there's no anything that constantly existing. So there's no reason to seek for the liberation. Liberation that comes after many lives. So each life, if there's no single entity is repeatedly happening, each life is different. This life is different from the past life, and next life will be different. So it's a kind of totally different history, different things. So you cannot be, seeking liberation, for my next life person, not for me, right? I'm not seeking liberation for myself because I'm going to die before the liberation happen. So I'm dedicating or doing something the liberation for accessor. So my substitute person, and he may kind of successfully attain liberation. And that substitute says, oh, probably I'm not going to attain liberation this life. So I'm going to die, which means I'm going to dissipate. So I'll just do something that can benefit for my successor, next prime minister. He will successfully attain liberations. So they feel everything is different. If there's no one single thing is continuing. No. So the single entity, the repeatedly happening, constantly manifesting, it is not the nature of the condition, the impermanent things. It's the permanent, the eternalism, So eternal things means anything that is the permanent, and there is no hope to change. So why are you hoping for the permanent nature, will change to the samsaric being, to the liberated being? He has never changed. He has born an animal, he has born in a human being, he has born in a God being. That the Atma, the single entity, the permanent nature has never changed. Even he go to the hell realm, coming back, that person is exactly the same. So how can this person will finally change from the samsaric being to the liberated being? The karma that propelled you to the hell realm, that's not going to change that permanent nature of the I. And the karma that is, lead you or kind of direct you to the form realm and even the God realms, that is also has no potential to change that the permanent I. So now this people, the non-Buddhist school and Jainisms and the other, most of the people, the including, the schools of Buddhist thought. So although the Buddhist school of thought has not really asserting, so there is the eternalisms, but it is going toward that directions. Because they thinks that the one thing has to be repeatedly happening, because there is the continuity. So the Prasangic school says the permanent continuum means continuum does not mean one single entity repeatedly happening, constantly existing. Continuum means the cause, disintegrate, and then the effect that manifest. So the manifestation, the effect is the continuum of the cause that has already ceased to exist. So the cause, because of the result is the manifestation of the cause that ceased to exist. Therefore, whatever the cause has ceased to exist hasn't been annihilated, is not being dissipated, it not discontinued, it's not become non-existence, because the manifest, the result manifest from that the cessation of the cause. So there's still continuities without repeatedly happening. There's the continuities. So this you can apply the day, the continuum of the days as a week, continuity of days as one month, continuous months of the years. So no month is repeating, no day is repeating, but day has the continuity. Because of the continuity of the days, there's the week and month and year. So there is the continuity of the seed and the sprout. But no seed has transfer to the state of the result. So no cause, no seed and sprout being identical, no seed and sprout being different. So you may think that, seed and sprouts are different because it's a different time. So then if you say that way, and if the next moment you are sitting there and now you're sitting here, so that place is different. So can you say, so you are there, 5 minutes ago you are there, now you are here. So you person who is there on the other side of your room, this person has to be different from that because this was here, at that time you were there. That because of the time is not going to change, the cause and effects are different because they are at a different time.
Say that again, please.
For example, 5 minutes before I was in the kitchen, and then after 5 minutes I'm here, then someone argues, the 5 minutes ago, the person in the kitchen, now in the Gompa are different because the two places are different. So you cannot prove this person is different because two places you are there and here, the places are different. So barley sprout, so you cannot say barley sprout is different from the barley seed. The barley seed was in the causal time, the barley sprout in the resultant time. The two times are different. One is the past, one is the present. That cannot prove barley sprouts being different from the barley seed. So, and then how do you prove the barley sprout is no different from the barley seed? So we say the barley sprout is no different from the barley seed. When the barley seed has ceased, the manifestation, from the cessation of the barley seed, manifestations is the barley sprout. Barley sprout manifests as a result of the, barley seed being ceased to exist. And the barley sprout follow, the barley sprout. The corn follows the corn seed. Orange follows orange seed. So each give rise to their own type of the result. So whatever the manifest from the seed being seized is the continuity of the seed that has already ceased to exist. So this is the continuity of one that has ceased in the past. Therefore, it is no different from this. Right. So, for example, you are sitting there and not laughing, and someone makes a joke, and one who's laughing then says, one who is not laughing before, is different from one who is laughing. Because the previously is not laughing, now he's laughing. The one laughing is, person who is laughing is different from not laughing person. You cannot say it. Because these not laughing people are amused by something, then he start laughing. So one who is laughing is no different from previously the one that is listening to the joke. Yeah. So there's so many times that if your mind is so stick with permanent natures, then probably there's it's difficult to convince that. Otherwise, so far you're supposed to be understood. So the different, I understand, no different is understand, no otherness is understand. But there's a question. So the different we see, before we see the different is the time. Before we see is the different because the name of one is cause, one is effect. So the name of the cause and effect, it cannot, make the difference in the cause and effect. The time of the present and the past is not going to change that see it and sprout as a different. And the youth and old, right? Because the one is the youth time, one is old time. The old man cannot be different from when he was as a youth. But you can say, it's different because this was 1987, 1965. Now he is in 2024. So the time not going to change, make the otherness of the cause and effect. So if the time change, if the locations make the change of that, then you says, when you are there and now you are here, you must be different. and you are wearing coat in the wintertime, jacket, long coat. Now in summertime, you are not wearing jacket. Now you must be different. So one who is committing the crime and one who is caught, because you have committed the crime. One who is intended to committing crime, one who has committed the crime. So there's not different person. So the Prasangika shows nothing, anything that is manifest, anything that is arisen. So never be other or from is the causal condition. So no different from its own cause. So nothing born from others. And also I mentioned that when you open this kind of, the interpretation of otherness, so if you see there is otherness, and then that otherness, the avenues is, that opens for the misunderstanding of the time travels. So misunderstanding of, the every result and, conventionally born from the seed and ultimately born from the creators. So then in that case, you says, oh, this body sprout and conventionally produced by the seed. But this, in the reality, ultimately, the body sprout was there before the body seed. Because something traveling through the time. Because everything is different. Time is different. Yeah, so different time is also, present is no different from the past. Present is no different from the past. Future is no different from the present. Because the future is existing, but relatively depending upon the present. The future manifests from the present, and the present is the manifestation of the past. So the past ceased, present manifest. So there is no present that is being different from the past. So there is no present entity that was once in the past. Right? So there is no present that traveled through the past to the present. And then again, you go a little bit deeper, and that time itself is not really it never really inherently exists. There is no such present that is independent from the past and the futures. The present is mentally constructed based on the past and the present. So time do not exist by their own essence. Time exists, due to the conceptual measurement. I think this, we have to, reflect again and again, because something that mislead us is, every time when you think about the futures, every time you think about the past. So it sounds like you are there in the past. You will be continuously existing in the futures. So if there is one self that is right now at the present time, and that had once exists in the past, once continuously exists in the future, and yourself, that self is the permanent. I think that's also makes you, when you think about the past, and so this kind of the intrinsic continuation of yourself, the continuity of yourself. If with that, if you feel shame, and there's more shameful. If you regret, there's more greater regret. And so it's kind of it past can be, the memory can be haunt you all the time, because you think, is this you? Exactly you. So if you see this way, this is exactly like you are in the dreaming. So sometimes you fly, sometimes you walk, sometimes you walk on the water. So in the dream, right? This. Yeah, a disappointment. There's some kind of disappointment from the memory of the past. So when that's greatly disappointing. So sometimes people so sensitive, so what called tender. Even the word of that comes, they're very annoying, irritating. If the name of Pasang or Dashi or the Tong, and there's you have bad memory of this name, and then if someone express this kind of word, and that you find is very annoying, irritating, but it brings all the memory back to you, because I think that's your mind is so grasping on that, that is right now it is happening. So there's something that travels to the present. Yeah, okay. Chanju semjo remboche maje bana jejuji kebanya ba mebanya kone kondo tonye tawa remboche maje bana jejuji kebanya ba mebanya kone kondo pevershi pama semje tamje dada denjuji ngenjo tamje tado ton chanju semba kana sushu teda kunye molom jojuji kare rabe ko bishi penda dewa malun jowe jere semba tenzin jazu shebe sede bado denjuji.
May the precious body mind that had born earth and grow.
May the holy
have no decline but increase forever.
May the precious
mind realizing emptiness
not yet
progression grow. May their bone have no decline but increase forever. Due to all these merits, may all father and mother sentient beings have all the happiness, and may all lower realms be empty forever. Wherever there are bodhisattvas, may all their prayers be accomplished immediately.
In the
sacred
secret
land surrounded by snow mountain, you are the source of all benefit and happiness, all powerful changes and intrinsic. Remain in this world until central end.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Lila.